You already see who it is, family. I want to reiterate what I said on my live video with Brother Shabazz. I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say one day that the messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, told him that his strongest soldiers wasn't in the mosque, they was in the street. And so with that being said, I bring to you the Honorable, my brother, your brother, Brother Shabazz. Peace.
Brothers and sisters, I want to take these few moments out to speak about solutions and the problems that require solutions. One of the first things is this conscious community. This conscious community, for all purposes intended, started out as a great idea. We have the forum, and you have the minds. Somewhere along the line, or maybe this was even in the blueprint from its inception, to sidetrack the people and feed the people a multiplicity of some correct information and some foolish information. And people were brought from everywhere to spit out things that are ridiculous. And in order for us to get a foothold on our destiny, we have to stop entertaining everything and entertain something. That something is the foundation that all nations are built off of. Nations are built off of, first, primarily knowledge of self. We need to go back and re-study who we actually are. In the history books, we've been many characters. We've been Hebrews, we've been Muslim, we've been 5%ers, we've been Moors, we've been all of these things. But don't misconstrue it. It's one person or people holding all these degrees and all this knowledge that has been let out at different intervals in our history is our knowledge. Today, we're here in the hells of North America. Them same people, them great master builders. How do we know this? If we do the research on our history, we'll find out that there was a person whose name was John Henry Hawkins. John Henry Hawkins was an individual who was contracted by the Queen to go into Africa and search for a particular people who it was known and spoken of to them that not only were they master builders, but they could build, direct, teach the people, and then defend this new nation that was being produced. So when John Henry Hawkins went into Africa, he stayed there 20 years. He didn't go snatching up just anybody. He stayed there 20 years. He learned the language. He spoke Arabic. He flew. He took down the Union Jack, which was his flag, and put up the Star and Crescent. He stayed there for them 20 years till he had got some information on where these particular people were. When he found them, he brought them out. When he brought them out, it was already made known that this was taking place. So the youth of our people were warned not to play around the shores, not to go out by themselves. But with all youth, you could tell them something and they just not gonna pay attention. So John Hawkins had some naked women on the ship, drunk and boozed up, and he had went and told some of our people that they could get paid more than they were making for their labor. He said, but come to the ship and I'll show you the papers. Some of the youth went toward the ship. When they got up on the ship, he kicked the plank away and set sail. By the time they arrived in Jamestown, Virginia, April 1st, 1555, there was 21 slaves on the ship. That 21 slaves on the ship were our ancestors who were the master builders. They began to teach this devil civilization. But being that there was no one to speak their language, he understood the process of division. So what he did was he killed the fathers. And by killing the fathers, there was no one to teach the children how to be men. So the weight was left on the sisters. And the sisters, being mothers, did what they could do to protect their children. So the so-called Willie Lynch program was already being implemented in Jamestown, Virginia in 1555. Put the strong against the weak, the light against the dark, the man against the woman. As this thing grew, our people, who, if you go look up the book of Black Scientists and Black Inventors, were already building, designing. The European didn't have the knowledge to do this himself. We did this. He doesn't really want to give us the credit for it, but that's all right, because history is best qualified to reward all research. Peace, Lord. Peace. Yes, sir. So we began to build up America. In 200 years, we built a nation that had the capability of conquering most of the planet. That's right. And every time he went to war, the only way to solve the war was to bring us into the war and allow us to fight the battle. When we joined the war and fought the battle, things got straightened out. We straightened out the Civil War. Then we turned around, we had this World War I. Well, we went into that war, straightened that out. We went into World War II, the Tuskegee Airmen. Them brothers that was on them ships, them ground forces. We straightened that out. Mind you, these is all crackers killing crackers. Now we turn around, we get to the Korean War. We straightened that out. It took us into the Vietnam War. Now, it's not crackers fighting crackers. It's crackers fighting brothers. So now, he gets beat up, kicked in his ass and sent home. He realizing he can't fight a guerrilla war. So, peace, Queen. He opted to do what his symbol, which is the eagle, which is not really an eagle, but a phoenix.
That's correct.
The prey of the air. So he's known for his Air Force. He's known for his battleships. When he goes to war, he bombards you. He attacks you from the sea and he attacks you from the sky. Well, if you ain't got a counter for that, the best thing you could do is let him come on that land. The eagle.
Can I ask you a question, brother? What about here in North America, or what was it called prior? You know what I mean?
Continental United States.
So it wasn't Maghreb, Alaska, as they say?
Yeah, you could say that. She's had many names thrown on her prior to the United States of America.
That's right.
When it comes time to battle, she will send us, though she shits on us, treats us like slaves still, you her only army. She doesn't care about the rest of these people coming from wherever they coming from. Her concern is this black man and woman in the wilderness of North America and this so-called American Indian. Because you got to remember, she got beat on her soil one time. And that ass whipping was delivered by so-called American Indians.
Now back up, when you talk about so-called American Indians, they know they didn't go to India.
No.
Right?
That's why I use the terminology so-called.
That's right. Allegedly. Yeah.
That beating of Custard made her understand no more wars on this soil. So since then, all her wars have been everywhere else.
Speak on the 5 civilized tribes that were here, or the quote-unquote...
the Confederation.
Yes, sir.
That Confederation was a group of us who had enough sense to say, look, let's stop this barbaric shit we doing with each other, and we're going to form a union. And this union is going to dictate what we do and what we don't do. And those 5 nations followed them rules and regulations. And up under them 5 nations were subdivisions or sub-nations, other little tribes. But it's all one family. Now, the devil been here 6,000 years. The Native American crossed the Bering Straits 14,000 years ago.
So I may interject for a moment. When you speak about the Native American, are you speaking about the red man, or are you speaking
I'm speaking about
the
that
1828 American dictionary definition of copper-colored black man, or quote-unquote indigenous black and brown man that were here?
That indigenous black and brown man that was here.
Peace, brother.
There is no place on the planet where we were not.
That's right.
So for people to think that we all was in one place on the planet and decided we got tired of that shit and got up and walked off and walked to everywhere else is preposterous.
Facts.
We've always been everywhere.
Facts.
All 196,940,000 square miles of fertile land, we've always been on that.
Peace.
They will try to give you this dissertation about, well, the white man, the Caucasian, only got that way because of his skin color and due to climatic changes. Well, the Eskimo is in the coldest region on the planet, and he black. So we know this is not due to no climatic change. When you give them the explanation of Yaku's history or the grafting of the Caucasian, because grafting is a very old ancient science. It is not something new. We done grafted trees, plants, insects, and everything has been grafted. He was the last grafting experiment that we used. And it was done to show forth and prove that something other than self could be allowed to rule self for 6 days. And on the 7th day, that one that was other than self will be eliminated. And that one who was the rightful ruler will take his throne back.
Well, the rightful heirs of here in quote-unquote North America.
And the whole planet. This European knows that his time is up. Mentally, physically, spiritually, genetically, everything in the universe is turning against him. He is the only person on the planet that the sun kills. The sun gives life to everybody else. Peace, Lord. The sun gives life to everything and everybody except him. So when we understand this, we'll have a better appreciation for who we are and what our purpose is. We lack right now unity amongst ourselves. And he knows this. And he does everything in his power to keep the unity of us as the people stagnated, separated. Because he knows once you come together, game is over. This one that he has here in the wilderness of North America, termed so-called American Negro, is the head. And the whole world is waiting for us to make a move. And when we make a move, everybody gonna make a move. But we gotta first take this serious and understand we at war.
Yeah, like your whole.
And when you at a war, you study your enemy. You learn his strong points and his weak points. No one knows this devil better than we do. Because we've been here with him since he's been here. We raised him. No one wants to hear this. No one wants to accept this. And that's all right. But it's a fact. This is why more pressure is applied to the so-called American Negro than any other people on this planet. Why do everybody from all over the world come here? You can only come here because we made it possible for you to come here. And yet you don't look at us and treat us as your brother. But we open the door for you. And even though you treat us like shit, we still don't slam the door on you. We have to wake up and understand that unity is a must. It is a primary prerequisite in order for us to do what we have to do. That doesn't mean all of us are going to get down, because all of us aren't going to get down. But those who have enough mind power to understand the reality of what has to take place, those few will get down. And they will make this thing happen. Ain't really too much else to talk about. I will say this. Every nation, every people have had their leaders. And we've had many. But we've had one that gave the solution to the problem. And he had a forerunner that started out with the solution to the problem. But they killed him. But this last one, they couldn't do that with. Those two individuals I'm speaking about is the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Study their sciences and their teachings, and you have all the solutions to the problems that you need. Peace.